Hi guys, I'm back again today with another video, and today we're checking out my street was rebuilt. So before we start, don't forget to subscribe, click the bell button, and let's see.
It all started with getting a letter on August 2021. It was a simple, unassuming envelope with the City of Haarlem's emblem, the 5 stars, and the sword next to the text, Gemeente Haarlem. This was more than 2 years ago, so my Dutch was a lot rougher, but as I read and reread the letter, the meaning became clear. My street was up for reconstruction. The letter gave a short explanation of what the construction would include, when it would begin, a date for a public meeting on the project, and a link to a webpage with any extra info I was curious about. Now, for me, who moved to the Netherlands to become a transportation engineer, this was just a gold mine. The street I moved to was pretty crappy by Dutch standards. Here was a chance to study a project with my own eyes, right outside of my front door. It felt like the universe was giving me a sign of, hey, I know you gave up your cushy job in California, but you did the right thing there, bud. Keep it up. Where I come from, public meetings feel very formal. They're often held somewhere in the town hall, and many cities hold them during odd hours to try to keep as many grumpy NIMBYs away as possible.
We didn't have tornadoes here until we started putting into traffic circles.
But I didn't have to go to Haarlem City Hall for this meeting. I just needed to show up to my own street sometime between 4 to 7 p.m. The project manager and the street designers were present to answer any questions that residents had about the project. They brought paper copies of the project plans with them and feedback forms for residents that had any complaints or suggestions about the project. They even brought food and beverages with them. It really felt to me that the city was genuinely trying to meet with the residents and that their opinions mattered.
We did it!
After the meeting, nothing happened for a while. The months came and went until, finally, the next letter came in February 2022. It was from the contractor that the city selected, and announced that the construction would begin on March 6, 2023. It informed about how the construction would be split into multiple stages, when the residents would need to move their cars, and another website link with the final engineering plans. I was really excited, and I impatiently waited for the construction to start. Before the reconstruction started in earnest, utility companies hurriedly did their own work. Since asphalt was getting demolished anyway, this was a chance to service or upgrade cables and pipes that would stay in place during the construction. When they were done, they patched up the surface with temporary clinkers. Besides being efficient, it also made the location of third-party utilities extremely obvious for the construction crew, which minimizes the chance of an accident. Demolition began on the garage side of the street. Street reconstructions are usually split into multiple stages to minimize disruptions to residents. It is less efficient than doing everything at once, but it's important to balance the efficiency with the needs of people living there. Street reconstructions also have to avoid blocking crucial access points, like the service entrance for Dutch railway employees. The work went briskly, and the asphalt, subbase, and foundation were removed after the first couple of weeks. You can see the different layers from this footage. It's really interesting to see just how deep the structure of a road goes. The work would sometimes stop because of the weather, but hey, who wants to work in the snow, right? Once the entire structure was removed, the ground was leveled, and a new base was brought in. Assembly of the new street began with foundational sand and staging the new construction pavements. This process is different because, unlike asphalt, which is made on site and laid down all at once, the curbs and pavements are modular. This is what a modular curb looks like, and this is what a modular paving brick looks like. The Dutch call these clinkers. Both are produced off-site and then assembled together on-site, like adults playing with Legos. Got it? Here we go. First, the curb pieces were connected together, while controlling for the slope and elevation of each piece. These blocks could be straight or curved, which made them flexible to use. Pretty cool, right? Then, the gutter and the sidewalk began to take shape. As this worker lays out clinkers, let's talk about patterns. There are no hard rules on this, but patterns are normally used for specific purposes. The gutters get arranged linearly, which makes sense. The pattern that this worker is arranging is called ellboogverband. The edge of each clinker meets another that is rotated 90 degrees. Ellboogverband is used for parking spaces, but also for sidewalks sometimes. There are 3 kinds of clinker size. This one is called valformat. And with the final clinkers laid, it was time to start the next section. The demolition of the housing side of the street went more or less the same as the garage side. Demolish the asphalt on the base, then regrade. But they were thoughtful enough to lay down rubber mats to replace the sidewalk. This side took much longer, since most of the utility work happened here. When people think about building streets, they usually just think of the pavement. But it's not just the pavement getting replaced. It's also all the pipes like drainage, electrical lines, and sewer. That means lots of digging and lots of money. The biggest chunk of the reconstruction budget isn't from the asphalt. It's from all the utility work. As one example, 60% of the $4.1 million budget of this anonymized project is allocated for utilities. Paving compromises just 1/3 of total costs. This is why cities hate rebuilding roads before their service life is over. It makes more sense financially to change the pavement when you need to break it up anyway to get to the utilities, instead of spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to redo the road, only to demolish it completely when it's time to redo the utilities in the future.
Makes sense.
Street assembly also went the same. Curb, gutter, and sidewalk. But they did something interesting here. They took the clinkers that used to be here and reused them to build part of the sidewalk here. This is something that makes clinkers more sustainable. Although the bricks may become more worn over time, they can still be reused in other applications. In this case, it was for the new sidewalk on my street. Worn they may be, but they're still more than capable of supporting people's weight as they walk, and the appearance makes the neighborhood look more historical too. This is exactly what Haarlem did for its Grote Markt. The square looks like it's been there forever, but it's really just recycled clinkers that are over 30 years old. With both sides completed, it was time to install the pavement of the drivable surface. These kind of clinkers are called, and I'm not kidding you, dikformat, and are arranged in caperverband. It looks pretty, but more importantly, it's the best pattern for resisting displacement from longitudinal movements, which makes it ideal for driving. Caperverband is how designers signal which area is meant for cars without having to use thermoplastic traffic markings. But patterns aren't the only way they substitute thermoplastic. As the parking area at the end of the street was being assembled in ellboogverband, every third red clinker was swapped out for a white clinker. This is how the parking stripes were created. Also, shout out to the crew for being nice enough to let me film their work up close. I was sure to thank them by becoming their official supplier of Coca-Cola. Of course, this wouldn't be a video about something Dutch if I didn't include at least something about bike parking. The reconstruction reduced the available parking spaces from 23 down to 18. Some of that extra space was used to install 5 tulip-style bike racks next to the car parking. And yeah, I just had to be the first person to use it. The rest of the freed space went to greenery. It's a big priority here in Haarlem to increase the amount of green space in the city. So that's what they try to do every time a street is rebuilt. They give residents a bit more nature, and they absorb more water during storms, which is pretty helpful to adapt to climate change. And Stefan, you say, the clinkers themselves are also great for more water infiltration into the ground, right? No, not really. That's why clinker streets have gutters. The only type of clinker that's good for this is the honeycomb type, with big enough gaps for grass to grow through it, which is an option for parking spaces like this one in Nidbos. The construction would finally finish in summer 2023, nearly 2 years to the date that I received the first letter in my mailbox. But the street wouldn't truly be finished until 3 months later, once the trees and shrubs were planted. What? You didn't think I was going to end the video without showing you the final product, did you? Well, have no fear, for Stefan's new street is finally here.
Okay, I think that's it. That was a really like organized from start to finish, from the letter to the end. I don't know if over here we do get letters for the government that says, "Hey, yo, we're gonna do that." I don't think so. I just wake up with drilling noise, and you're like, "What is happening?" Um, so yeah, and also I love the clinkers. I really did enjoy when the guy was like putting them, or laying them. It was so satisfying. I never. I was thinking they were placed like this, not sideways. But that's so intriguing. I like that sideways actually way better. And I just realized the linear is like for the, was it a sidewalk? It's not necessarily a sidewalk, was it? It's just like the drainage, and then the path or the road was like, that kind of style. I don't even know. But anyways, that's just very, very fascinating and interesting. Well, thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.